This is the story of a man who did everything he could to nurture his marriage, only to have it shattered by his wife's betrayal. At first, their relationship was happy and seemingly perfect. They spent quality time together, dreamed of a shared future, and supported each other through every challenge. However, everything changed when his wife befriended a man at the gym, which eventually turned into an emotional and physical affair. Interestingly, this man had memberships at 3 different gyms, as if he was constantly seeking new connections. When the husband discovered the affair, he confronted his wife. Instead of expressing remorse or ending the relationship, she blamed him and justified her actions. She admitted to being happy with the other man, saying, "He makes me laugh like a woman." Desperate to save his marriage, the husband engaged in the pick-me dance, trying everything to win her back. But his efforts were in vain. Eventually, he gave her an ultimatum: it's either him or me. Yet she refused to give a clear answer. At this point, the husband realized he had to make the difficult choice to file for divorce. During the divorce process, he implemented the 180 rule, which meant creating emotional distance from his wife and focusing entirely on himself. He prioritized his mental and physical health, excelled in his career, leaned on family and friends for support, and rediscovered his passions and hobbies. Now let's see what happens next in the video. Will the wife ever regret her actions? Will her relationship with the affair partner stand the test of time? Or will the husband continue to thrive and build an even better life for himself? Stay tuned until the end of the video to find out. Just filed for divorce on wayward wife and affair fog. Scared. I can't believe I'm at this point in my marriage right now. A month ago, I would have never guessed this would have happened. Up until this point, our marriage was great. Never left each other's sides, great sex, dates every weekend, and always had each other's backs no matter what. I've done everything in my power to make sure she has had a great life. After knowing a man at the gym for about 2 months, my wife started an emotional affair with him. Fun fact, I would also like to add that this guy has 3 different gym memberships for different gyms. After confronting her about it, she refused to stop seeing him. She says she's in love with him, and they sent each other flirty texts and nudes. She suddenly says that she hasn't loved me for a while and that affair partner makes me laugh like a woman. However, the love seemed so real up until this guy came into the picture. Ever since seeing this guy, she's like a completely different person, cold, resentful, and completely not interested in me. After doing the pick-me dance for 2 weeks, I professed my love for her for the final time and ended it with saying, "It's him or me." Her answer was, "I don't know what I want." I stormed out of the house, headed to my parents and my in-laws, and contacted affair partner's girlfriend. After this, wayward wife got pissed at me, saying I'm a blank one for telling our families. When she found out I told affair partner's girlfriend, she went berserk. She started yelling, pushing me, and throwing things. She then started saying to me that we are finished and we have no chance. The affair still continues. Wayward wife and affair partner pretend like they stopped seeing each other just to get affair partner's girlfriend to get off his back. If wayward wife and affair partner are so in love, why won't he dump his girlfriend? Since then, I've implemented the 180th. I've also found messages of wayward wife and affair partner talking about what their babies might look like. They're going on dates in public, and the affair has gotten physical. I decided enough was enough and filed for divorce. She'll be getting blindsided by papers in 10 days or so. She probably would never expect me to do this, but that's a good thing. I need to show her that I'm serious and that I'm not her second choice. On the day she's served, I plan on going nuclear, telling our families what all she's been up to lately with affair partner, showing proof of continuing affair, and the physicality of the affair to affair partner's girlfriend, cutting off her gym membership, separating my money from our joint account, and making her get out of the house. I'm so scared of her getting served and doing all these things, but I know it needs to happen if I want any chance of lifting the fog. My hope is to save my marriage by dropping an atomic bomb on it, but I'm prepared for the worst. Where I live, spouses need to separate for 6 months before any divorce can be finalized. If she doesn't come back to me in that time and implement the changes I need from her, then I know there was nothing to save. It'll be tough if that's the outcome, but I'll be okay and grow stronger from it. Eventually. Update. About a month and a half ago when I made this post, I thought I was through doing the pick-me dance, but looking back, I definitely still was. I had this fantasy in my head that having her served would finally wake her up, but that wasn't the case. She was thankful for the divorce. Like I said on my last post, in the state I live in, after the initial filing, the couple must be separated for 6 months before the proceedings begin. I decided not to go completely nuclear to not ruffle any feathers. Let me tell you, whenever people on this sub say to divorce while wayward spouse is in the affair fog because you'll get a better deal, listen to them. She let me have her house, our dog, and pretty much anything I wanted to keep. She also agreed to sign a court order saying she can't come after me for spousal support. She moved out today. It was probably the most bittersweet thing I've ever been through. On one hand, living with her for the past 2 months was absolutely brutal. On the other hand, it feels like a huge chapter of my life is coming to a close. I cried pretty hard the moment she walked out, but I know this is absolutely for the best. Her affair partner is still talking and sneaking around, and he still has his girlfriend. Wayward wife is naive as hell and still neck-deep in the fog. I'm still shocked by how infidelity changes a person's whole personality. My wife and I were together for 10 years, and she was legitimately my best friend. We had all kinds of plans for our future. Once a fair partner came into the picture, she could barely tolerate me. She absolutely resented me and could not stand to be around me. For the past 2 months of living together, I was way more civil than I should have been. You'd think I was the one who cheated. I'm starting to come to terms with the fact that she may have been a covert narcissist. Back when I made my initial post, I was a broken mess. I could barely eat or sleep, and I spent most of my time lying in bed. I've come such a long way in a month and a half. I feel so much better. I still mourn what once was or what could have been, but it doesn't occupy the majority of my thoughts anymore. Individual counseling has helped greatly. I've been hitting the gym, leaning on family and friends for support, and repurposing my hobbies. I've also got a few new hobbies lined up that I'm really excited to try. Since she legally can't come after me for spousal support, I decided that finding a new and higher-paying job would be a good change of pace for me. I have a few interviews lined up that look really promising. Also, I draw enormous thanks to everyone who posts in this sub. Your stories and advice have also helped me immensely in my healing. I realize that I've already been through the worst of what will be one of the most traumatic events of my life, and that gives me this strange sense of confidence and fearlessness that I've never felt before. This separation period will be a new start for me. I can take my life in any direction I want. I feel more empowered than I have in my entire life. I don't know what the next 6 months has in store for me, but I know that I will evolve into the best version of myself during it. For any betrayed spouses out there struggling, it doesn't matter how much they gaslight, blame shift, or rewrite history. I encountered all of this up until the moment she moved out. Cheating is not your fault, and you are enough. Your wayward spouse could have tried to talk about any relationship issues with you or just ended things like an adult. They chose the most hurtful, immature, and cowardly way out. Wayward spouses are weak people who have serious character flaws. You can make it out of this in one piece, and you can heal in a short amount of time. This may be some of the most generic advice on this sub, but just take it one day at a time and focus on yourself. Like, actually put in the work to focus on yourself. It absolutely works. Your wife's choices weren't a reflection of anything you did or didn't do. Cheating isn't about a lack in the relationship. It's about a lack in her. She's shown through her actions and her inability to take responsibility that she isn't the partner you deserve. Her anger at you outing her just reinforces that she's more upset about being exposed than about the pain she's caused. It's a clear sign that you're better off moving forward without her. Update. Many have been asking me to post an update in the last 2 months, but I haven't felt like anything significant enough has gone down to warrant a post. That is, until this week. This update won't be a long one, but I think it's a pretty important one. Read my full post to get a better idea of the whole story. In short, I had a weird feeling that something was up with my wife, so I confronted her about it. After a lot of back and forth, she admitted to cheating on me with a dude that has a current girlfriend and 3 kids from a previous marriage. She instantly started blaming me and rewriting history about her relationship. She refused to stop seeing him. There was no remorse. I realized there was no other choice but to file for divorce. Where I'm from, there's a mandatory 6-month separation period before the proceedings begin. I'm 2 months out from the end of this period. So here's how things are going. I've been living alone in my house with my dog. Soon-to-be ex-wife gave up both to me, thankfully. I'm working on myself, figuring out what I want in my next relationship, and am patiently waiting for the divorce to be over. Since I was with my soon-to-be ex-wife since I was 15, I'm now 25. This is my first time experiencing adult life outside of this relationship. Living alone, doing whatever I want to do, and only having myself to answer to is such a great feeling. Overall, my healing process has been going extremely well. I'd say I'm actually so excited to date again eventually. I've decided to wait at least until the divorce is finalized to take that step, as I don't really want to have the "actually, I'm technically still married" conversation with any girl I may be interested in. Yesterday, I made a realization that I had hit a pretty big milestone in my journey. I realized that I no longer care about my soon-to-be ex-wife, what she's up to, or what her future holds. Furthermore, I looked back and realized that I had this feeling of indifference towards her for weeks now. This is a complete 180 from just 7 months ago, when I couldn't eat, sleep, focus at work, was in a state of constant distress, and was deep in the reconciliation fog. Let me tell you, once you spend some time separated and that fog wears off, you start to realize all the red flags you didn't notice when things were normal in the relationship. I was honestly a great husband and was being taken advantage of for so long by someone who didn't really love or respect me. I'm so happy I'm getting divorced from the absolute loser. My advice to people currently recovering from infidelity hasn't changed much from my last post. Seriously, work on yourself. Spend time doing things you love. Pursue the hell out of your hobbies. Lean on family and friends and make those relationships stronger. Picture the person you want to be and try your hardest to be that person. That's what I did. And ever since the split, people have been telling me that I am way more confident than I have ever been. Nothing justifies getting cheated on. Please never blame yourself and honestly never take them back. Someone who loves you would never cheat on you. Everyone who has gone through this crap deserves someone who truly loves us, and we will find them. You're spot on, OP. Healing isn't about them, it's about you. Pursuing hobbies, strengthening your relationships with loved ones, and visualizing the person you want to become are powerful tools for recovery. And you're absolutely right. Cheating is never justified, and it's never the fault of the person who was betrayed. Update. Pretty much what the title says. Seems like there was a falling out between a affair partner and his girlfriend. After 8 months, it looks like my soon-to-be ex-wife finally graduated from being a side chick. As of last week, my soon-to-be ex-wife began posting pictures of her and affair partner together on her social media, and a lot of them, which isn't surprising. When we were together, she tried her hardest to make us social media's favorite couple. I haven't looked at her social media in a while, but I was made aware of their pictures by a family member. I caved and took a peek, which obviously was a mistake. So, how do I feel about it? I'm kind of going to look like a fraud here, considering I said I was at the point of indifference in my last update. But I'll be honest, considering we're not fully divorced yet, it set me back a little. I was a bit angry and sad about it over the weekend, but I feel a lot better now. Seeing friends and acquaintances that I know and respect like their pictures truly made me realize that no one cares about my cosmic injustice. Granted, many of them probably don't know she cheated, except this sub and those that are closest to me, and that's just something I realized I have to be okay with. I'm mostly feeling indifferent again because it does me no good to keep thinking about it. Them officially dating does not change the path of my self-improvement I'm on. What do I think about the relationship? There are a lot of things to consider. 1. The relationship was born out of infidelity. Trust will never be fully there. 2. It took 8 months of sneaking around behind affair partner's girlfriend before anything official happened. Third affair. Partner likely has a history of cheating before this, seeing that he himself is divorced with 3 kids. 4. My ex-wife has extreme codependency issues. 5. My ex-wife is 24 years old, in a relationship with a man nearly 10 years older than her with 3 children. Who wants to be a stepmom at 24? I give it a year or two before the relationship implodes on itself, but I refuse to let this take up any mental real estate any longer. I blocked her on all social media. Finally, I will block her number when the divorce is finalized in October. When I'm ready to enter the dating world again, which I'm very excited about, I'm confident I'll be able to find a much better partner than her. All I can do is keep on keeping on, continue to work on myself, continue to stay busy, continue to speak my truth when asked, keep doing well at my job, keep pursuing my hobby of creating music, keep leaning on the support of my family and friends until the divorce goes through. It's worked out well so far. It's highly likely they're heading for their happily ever after, OP. But even if they do, it's no longer your concern. Blocking her on social media and planning to block her number once the divorce is finalized are great steps toward reclaiming your peace of mind. After 3 years and some advice for someone going through infidelity currently. Progress. About 3.5 years ago, I shared my story and some posts that were pretty well received by this sub and had a small following. I've been feeling like I owe an update to the many people who DM'd me, even if it was so long ago. It was under the name of a throwaway account. Feel free to click and read my story. I don't remember any of the login info for that account, which is why I'm posting from this one. Anyway, on to the update. I'm coming up on 4 years since D-Day, which was in January of 2021, and a lot has changed for me. My separation and divorce allowed these things to happen for me. I became an absolute MVP at my job, both work-wise and socially. I made a dozen new lifelong friends because of this, and I make a lot more money than I ever have. I traveled more than I ever have and got to go on a dream trip to Japan way earlier than I thought I would. I eventually started dating, and honestly, I never had a bad date and had a lot of fun. Within 3 to 4 dates, I realized that there were people out there who are way better than my ex. While I had fun dating, I was incredibly happy to stop when I met the most caring, supportive, beautiful girl I've ever met in my life. We've been dating for about a year now and have plans to move in together over the summer. The feelings I get from her are way different than the ones from my ex. I hope everyone reading this has a chance to find someone who just instantly clicks, is supportive of everything you do, challenges you, and loves you unconditionally. I feel as though I truly have this for the first time in my life, which is crazy to say considering I've been married. As for my ex, I've had her blocked on everything for 3.5 years. I've never seen her in public once. Hell, she didn't even show up to the divorce proceeding. Of course, I've heard things here and there. She's still with the affair partner and even had a child with him, from what I understand. She has none of the friends she used to have. I was even approached by one of them at a wedding of a friend and was told, "She hasn't talked to any of us in forever. When we found out what happened to you, it blew our minds. You didn't deserve it." It's good to know that they seemingly know the truth of the situation. I don't know the ins and outs of their relationship, but if my ex and her affair partner were meant to be together, then I'm truly, truly happy for them and hold no ill will toward them. Of course, I'll never forget what happened, and I have zero desire to be in contact with her, but I still wish her the best. My advice for anyone struggling with infidelity right now: I remember when I was going through this and I didn't want to believe what 70% of the people on this sub were telling me. Take their advice. Most of the people here sharing advice have long healed from this process and know the best practices for getting over it as quickly as possible. It may seem generic to read "work on yourself" over and over again on the sub, but it truly is the fastest way to feel better. Go all in on your hobbies. Learn a new hobby. Prioritize your relationship with your family and friends. Make new friends. Reconnect with who you were before your relationship. Work on yourself is the most common advice on this sub because it works. As you can read from my throwaway account, I was in a bad way. It was even worse than I was letting on by my comments and posts, to the point of serious suicidal ideation. If I can get over it, it sounds like you've taken a heartfelt and encouraging comment or post, perhaps from a motivational video or a social media community like Cheating Story Tells, and turned it into a message of support and optimism. This is a wonderful example of how sharing personal experiences and growth can inspire others to find hope and strength in their own journeys. The emphasis on healing, personal growth, and being there for others really creates a sense of community and encouragement. It's also a great reminder that progress and happiness come from within, but having a supportive network can make the journey much easier. If you'd like to discuss further, create a motivational message, or brainstorm ways to engage a community around positivity and support, let me know.